Eltharion's Mr. Walker barrage might be a little bit overtuned. We'll have to wait and see kind of what the results say, but certainly did get a buff. Basically, it now rains in much more projectiles. I think it was only 10 projectiles before. Now it's up to 50, which is very considerable. Yeah, it definitely makes him much better. Today, Falcon's going to try and take him against the Thunderbarge. Yes, Thunderband is the Thunderbarge already in competitive play, but obviously on quick battles, it's still available to you. Haven't really looked at it too much, but the main reason why it's banned is that you basically do nothing and it generates passive value. It's like a flying mortis engine, really. Doesn't have to be in melee to generate value, of course, but yeah, here it's going to activate its Thunderburner ability. It's got all these different crewmen, and I mean, visually, I love the unit, right? One of the coolest units, certainly in the game. It's got all these dudes with the Grudge Raker shotguns. The best part by far, of course, is the dudes in the back drinking here. We've got the Slayer, and I think it varies. Sometimes I've seen like a Hammerer back here, and some different dudes. But yeah, some bros drinking, of course. We've got the Captain Engineer flying, and it's basically just insane. It's got the 2 cannons on the front, drops bombs, it's got all the dudes on the sides. The damage output is absolutely ludicrous, and up in the air, it's got 12,000 HP, basically unkillable for most factions. That's why it's banned for the time being. But obviously, we'll see it in quick battles. High Elves certainly do have tools to try and fight it in the air, both with flying monsters. We've got the 2 Eagles, lots of archers. Falcon recently realizing that this Warscape engine was originally made for Empire Total War, which was a shooting game, so might as well just lean into that. Take lots of shooting units, Eltharions, White Lions, and Rangers to fight in melee here. And for the Dwarfs, they've got Thoric Ironbrow, some Longbeards with great weapons, a couple of Bolt Throwers, Slayers for anti-large, Garagrim Iron Fist as well for an anti-infantry kind of damage hero. And yeah, then the Thunderbarge, which right now is actually doing what it should not, because notice how there's no gunners facing out the back, really. There's a couple of these guys, I think, that can maybe fire off of the back, but not a lot. Oh, is that dude just shoveling coal in the back? Yeah, so there's no one that actually fires into the rear arc, which means as this guy's attempting to pull away, the Thunderburner is also dealing a little bit of damage to the Thunderbarge. And, I mean, the Eagles are not actually getting any hits, right? If we look at their value, they're not really doing anything, but High Elves charge in the front line here. Eltharion fighting it out, and, yeah, he's going to get his little barrage coming in here very soon, so we'll watch for it as he uses a cheeky Fiery Convocation, I believe. Yeah, then the arrows rain in. That's that Mistwalker's Barrage. Doesn't do any friendly damage, although it does stagger friendly troops. That Fiery Convocation, though, does steal some serious friendly damage to those White Lions there as they get a buff. The Dwarfs get a buff from Thorek to try and win that fight. White Lions there being punished very heavily as Garagrim tries to defend. The Bolt Throwers, though, getting shut down very quickly. And the Slayer is going to trade absolutely horrifically against just massive amounts of Rangers. Anti-infantry, large model count Rangers will be a nightmare trade for the Slayers, so that should be very cost-effective for Falcon. But of course, the Thunderbarge going to fly over and drop some bombs. This is what it should be doing, is basically just ignoring the Eagle and not really moving around too much. Just park it back somewhere, preferably away from the archers, so it's not getting shot up too much, and just let it generate value kind of passively. And then the Eagles, actually, if they're attacking the side, I found this out the hard way, will die. I played a game against Tactical Lich. You can see on his channel. Be sure to go check that out if you haven't. I played a game where I was Lizardman with Tic-Tac-Toe and the Colossadon Hunters, and I got a perfect, absolutely perfect drop, basically, with the Ripidactyls occupying his ground-based missiles and the Pterodons fighting, and basically the shotgunners just killed them all, shooting from the side of the ship, and won. And I lost the battle, and that got like, 6,000 value or something insane like that. So, yeah, basically what it should do is just park itself stationary, ignore the Eagle, don't use the Thunderburner because it's just going to deal extra damage, and it will just passively win the battle. Whereas instead, the Dwarf player here is using the Thunderburner and kind of running around, which leads to the Eagles being in the rear arc, right? So they're not getting shot by the shotgunners nearly as much. That being said, all these resources dedicated to killing the Thunderbarge. Falcon has had to focus all of his archers on it pretty much the entire time. Not to mention, of course, the self-damage from Thunderburner, and even still, it's like 3,000 damage value. So, I mean, I would say this is like a misuse, right, of the Thunderbarge. Even misusing the Thunderbarge, it still generates 3,000 damage value passively, and that is, again, why it is banned in competitive play for the time being. But we'll come down to Thunderbarge making its final attack run here, dropping some bombs. As the High Elves fight, it'll take them quite some time to try and finish off these Dwarven single entities, of course. They're both quite powerful. But for the first time I've shown it on my channel, actually, but it's my first time in several battles. I've probably played maybe 5-6 battles with this thing in it. My first time actually watching it get destroyed in battle. So there you go. So for here first, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure other content creators have shown it blowing up, but very spectacular animation. Garagrim gets a Rune of Doom from Thorek, and the two of them are going to tank it out for some time. Of course, High Elven archers are quite accurate, so they should be able to pinpoint, get at these characters. Garagrim, in particular, with 0 armor, will be quite a decent target, but of course, Thorek needs to be taken out as well. Eltharion's got be a little bit careful as he casts spells. He is going to take damage, of course, from the rune effect that causes the miscast, but he just dips through the wreckage of Thunderbarge, escaping from Garagrim, not wanting to stay in combat, just doing a little cheeky elven cycle charging there. This is also going to lead Garagrim away from Thorek, which he definitely wants to stay close to. Oof, maybe not. Gets a big hit on Eltharion there. Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Mistwalker's Barrage, of course, not doing any damage. Rune of Wrath and Ruin certainly does to the High Elves. But let's see. Fast forward a little bit. Another Apotheosis there on Eltharion, which will be a net positive, even with the miscast damage. But Falcon eventually switches targets onto Garagrim as he kind of runs around in the open a little bit here. He does take considerable damage from those High Elven archers. Slayers only having 0 armor applying to their characters. Everybody except Ungrim Iron Fist, of course. But makes them tricky in a situation like this, where they could potentially be shot by very accurate massed missiles. And Elves, you know, training their entire lifetime to be able to hit shots like that. Definitely paying off in this situation. The Eagles, though, as soon as they drop down, Dwarven heroes are just going to pummel them absolutely. Will be quite the brutal affair. That being said, yeah, the archers still have so much ammo left and just can continue firing at Thorek despite his missile resistance and despite his physical resistance. Dwarf player going to throw in the towel there very gracefully. Admit defeat. And quite the victory from Falcon, I have to say. No small feat, felling a Thunderbarge. And he was able to do it with a relatively kind of standard-looking High Elf build. Granted, Tobias here arguably misused the Thunderbarge and maybe didn't have the best support build around it. I mean, not that Longbeards are necessarily terrible. They're not amazing, and you could definitely do better than bolt throwers and just having some more, like, generally cost-effective stuff, maybe some Minor's Blasting charges, stuff like that. But overall, all right, all things considered. But, I mean, the Thunderbarge, obviously, 30,000 damage dealt, 3,000 damage value as gold. Absolutely insane. So there's that. And if you look at what did the damage, it definitely wasn't the Eagles. One of them barely paid for themselves by the end. It wasn't Eltharion casting Tempest, because he didn't even have it. I mean, maybe he had it, but he didn't use it. It was really just the archers, the self-damage from the thruster there. So, yeah. Thunderbarge, insanely powerful, still banned, but can be beaten if you have the right tools and the right skills. Certainly Falcon did in this circumstance. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.